morning and welcome to this episode of Driving the Difference Show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me this morning is Anthony Laras, the Strategic Partnership Manager of Teletrac Navman. Good morning, Anthony, and welcome to the show. Thank you for coming.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of the show.
And Anthony, this morning we'd like to talk to you a little bit first, if you could just explain what Teletrac Navman does for those who don't know, and a little bit about the company, and then we'll move on to the diversity.
Absolutely. Well, we're a global software business. We are owned by a company that's listed on the New York Stock Exchange called Vontier. Vontier do a number of things in the software space, so we're part of that group, and I suppose our ethos, our culture is driven globally, which is of interest, I suppose. And the reason I bring it up is when we start talking about diversity, you'll see that we have a top-down view of our ethics and what's important, and what's number one on the list globally is diversity. And I can tell you a little bit about how we do that and how we achieve it, through our discussion. For
sure. And the product in Australia is obviously in the transport space mainly.
Yeah, certainly. At the moment, we're monitoring about 130,000 vehicles, of which probably 90,000 of them are transport. So I'd say that we've come from, and I've been with the company 13 years, we've come from a place where we've been a supplier to the industry to now being a part of the industry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because our solutions that are developed right here in Melbourne, in Camberwell actually, are all written by our software engineers for the transport industry.
Great, and and you've become part of the industry, of course, by your support of the associations throughout the industry, not only Transport Women Australia, but the ATA and various other associations. And that's one of the reasons, of course, we invited Teletrac Navman here this morning, because of their diversity inclusion, and their support throughout the transport industry. And you've had quite a few research and diversity programs. I think we got involved several years ago with a research program with you. I think it was called Driving Change or something, and it was mainly about bringing women into the industry. And of course, diversity is not just about women. So that, I think, was the first research you did.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about that?
Look, yeah, I do. I certainly do. As I said, a part of our ethos obviously is man, woman, ethnicity, cultural background, ability, disability. None of that matters at our company. Yeah. And I've had the pleasure of working globally with our company, and it's the same all over the place. We simply judge a person by what they can do, not who they are or what sex they are.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get a real handle on that in Australia and New Zealand, primarily from our point of view. And it was interesting. I was telling you earlier, I just came back from a road trip to Mildura, and I was thinking to myself, what job in our company, in our software business here, couldn't be done by either a man or a woman or someone from overseas? And I couldn't think of one.
Exactly. And I was thinking, when I knew you were coming on, and you have, last year you started the Champions of Change with the ATA, and I was thinking about, I've been in transport for 50 years, and I've worked with guys in wheelchairs in operations, I've worked with gay people, I've worked with cross-dressers, and the transport industry is so welcoming of everybody. They might stir them about, their diversity, and tease them, but they just accept it on an everyday basis, and they don't think about it, whereas we're not seen as an inclusive industry, but we definitely are.
You make such a good point, and I hope we never lose our larrikin roots.
Yeah.
But I will tell you something, in my experience, those people, no matter who they are, no matter what gender they are, no matter whether they're in a wheelchair or man or woman, there is a home for them and a mateship around them that you will not find, I believe, anywhere else.
Absolutely. And as I said, I asked one day about the cross-dresser and I said, like, who was that? And he went, he's a great bloke. That's what the other truck drivers were saying, and they didn't see anything different about that, and that's what I love about this industry, that they do that. And I noticed we often talk about diversity and inclusion being women and youth, but it's not about that. It's about all the others, our refugees and our immigrants and our people with disabilities and all those things. One of the transport companies I know hired a young gentleman with Asperger's. I love this young guy. I've known him since he was a child, but to have him brought into the transport company and find the niche that suited him was amazing, and he's had that job for quite a long time.
You know, if I was talking to my younger self, and I studied economics, and like everyone else, when I finished my degree, it was like, well, where will my place in this world be? And I didn't originally go into Teletrac Navman. I went through banking and did some other things, and I found my home in the industry.
So we'll get down to where Teletrac Navman, of course, is a sponsor of Transport Women Australia. They're also a corporate member, and they support us through many things. They've supported us with speakers at various functions. They're part of our Learning Initiative Breakfast Series. They're a sponsor of our conference later in this program, and of course they sent you along this morning to take your place on this forum, and we'd like to thank them very much for that, because they are an amazing supporter, and I think that's the big thing that they've shown, that they do support our vision and what we're trying to do to attract people and change our image and show that there is a welcome here for anybody, and especially women. And you saw my next guest is a young woman in the industry, and I'm an old woman in the industry, and they've just been an amazing supporter. And have you got anything else you want to?
Well, I would just say, Jacqueline, we're in the fortunate position that we get approached to support many, many different associations and industries, and the decision to become part of a supporter of yours was not taken lightly. It was because it was that we thought the same way. Yeah,
and we see you as a partner, not necessarily just as a supporter, but a whole partner in this. And we go to you and we're looking for not only money, but we're looking for advice and stuff like that, because of the people in your organisation are very much part of our group, and we hope to keep it that way. So I think that's been the whole thing, that we've tried to build up that partnership with our sponsors, with our supporters, and with other people in the industry, and that's been a huge thing for us, because there's so much we don't know, and especially with the software, that's something way over my head, and it's a huge thing.
Look, and vice versa, we're learning a lot, and so I would finish by saying that for us, we're always looking for good people. We don't care if they're man or if they're a woman, if they're young or if they're old. On our LinkedIn group, if you follow it, there's jobs all the time, and I'd encourage anyone
to follow that up.
Whether they're from here or
we're
from
out
anywhere.
of time now, so thank you very much for joining us this morning, Anthony.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll welcome Teletrac Navman at another time. Thank you so much. We'll be back shortly with the next segment of the Drive a Different Show.
With over 20 years of combined recruitment experience, Bastion is your trusted advisor for sourcing leaders. Technical experts in supply chain recruitment, Bastion uses a proven, customer-focused delivery. Speak to a consultant today for your recruitment needs. Bastion, experts in sourcing leaders that deliver change.
Welcome back to the Driving a Different Show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me now is Hannah Stewart, the Operations Manager of Stows Waste Management. Welcome, Hannah. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Hannah, could you sort of tell us a little bit about Stows and about your role there? You just had a recent promotion back in September.
Yes.
So you want to lead with that? And because you've been there a few years now?
Yep. So I've been with Stows for 5 years now, or coming up to 6.
Yep.
And as you said, recently promoted to operations manager, which is quite daunting. Stows are a predominantly liquid waste management company, where we do have hard waste as well, but yeah, generally just bulk vacuum tankers. There's a fleet of 14, and it's currently run by the managing director, Paul Stowe, who's 4th generation Stowe. And yeah, we're just a old-fashioned family company.
So I forgot to mention that you were awarded one of the Driving the Difference scholarships in 2020,
Yes.
so which we're very, very proud to offer. And having met your management team, Paul and Imran, at the dinner where we awarded that to you, they're very supportive and very inclusive of you.
Yes.
And I'm assuming there are other females in the company.
Correct, yeah.
But it's a company that seems to want to drive their females forward
Yeah.
and to look after them. So that must be pleasing for you.
Yeah.
And you joined Transport Women Australia mid last year, I think.
Yes.
And and what made you do that? What were you seeking there?
I guess, being a part of the transport industry, or especially the liquid, it's quite niche. And I wanted to broaden probably my reach and just see what else is out there within the transport industry. But also just to see the trials and the triumphs that other women are facing. It's been very encouraging and very inspirational, which is why when I saw the scholarship pop up, I had to go for it. So
yeah, and we were always amazed by the diversity of the scholarship applications, which is great. But it was also funny because our members are from drivers to CEOs and from wharf to waste. And but when we saw you, we've got a waste girl, and so that was exciting. But you're also obviously, we've had the scholarships going for a couple of years now, and the age range has been from very young, in their early 20s, to their mid to late 50s, because we don't have an age barrier on them. And the courses have been extremely varied that we had to do, and I can't remember the name of yours because it was quite long and quite varied. Yeah. Would you like to tell me how you felt about winning that scholarship and what you hope to do with the course once you're finished?
Certainly. So the course I have chosen to do is through Melbourne Business School at Melbourne University, which is the Driving Performance in a Changing World. So I felt it was very fitting, going through COVID, we still are, just to probably broaden my leadership skills coming into the new role. I didn't expect to win, so when I did, I was speechless when you called. But yeah, I really want to probably just develop my leadership skills and be able to pass that on.
That's great. And to do that, obviously, we would want you to move forward not only in your present role and your present company, but hoping to take that leadership outside and into the industry.
Correct. And
without stealing you from Stows Waste when they but this is a sign of, being able to show the people in the industry that there's a way forward for females.
Definitely.
And especially young females in the industry. I think they look at it sometimes and see that that it's all about, being related or being married into or something,
Correct.
not somebody coming in from outside.
Yeah.
And they don't see the role models that there are out there. And, as you move forward, you will be, see that there's role models ahead of you, but there will also role models that you're going to become one of them as you move forward in that, and take advantage of the scholarship and whatever other leadership's available to you. So obviously we're looking forward to a long and fruitful relationship with you in Transport Women.
Definitely.
And with Stows as well, because as I said, Paul and Imran were very supportive when we met them. So I think that's very important, and you're the second one I think that started their course. Hannah got her licence and was super excited about doing that. With the waste industry is obviously fairly unique in how it is, and yes, and that's something that you probably don't get a lot of females entering into that. And I noticed you've also have a bachelor's already, and you've done that while you're at Stows.
Yeah, so I did the majority of it at Stows, which I'm very fortunate because they allowed me the extra study time and time off work to be able to go to my exams and everything like that. But it was good for me because I was able to study the theory, but then also apply it straight into the business. So
yes, yeah, and that helps. I think if you're studying and just studying it, and then you go out, it's very difficult then to. My last guest was talking about studying economics, and I hated economics. Absolutely, was my least favourite subject when I was studying.
Yeah,
if I hadn't been working, I wouldn't have ever used it in my life.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have ever passed it if I hadn't been working in my life. It was just the most boring thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But the rest of this course, you could apply so much of it as you're working.
Yeah.
And I just think people see the transport industry, and especially the trucking industry, as a blue collar thing, and they just still see it as an uneducated or an unskilled industry. And that's something we're trying to change our image, and that's why we want to encourage more people like yourself and my next guest into showing them that this is the industry, this is how diverse it is, and how we want to keep that, driving that forward, that you're an integral part of the industry, and this is more and more what it's going to look like, and that you're actually learning on the job and quite capable of taking the company that you're with forward, or in any company that you may work for in the future.
Definitely.
And are happy to continue to learn more and more about it as you go forward. You're not just got a single focus on what you're doing, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
We're nearly out of time, but I congratulate you on your scholarship, and I wish you luck with your course and your studies, and we will look forward to hearing about them when you complete them.
Definitely.
So thank you for coming in, and we will see you again very shortly.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment for the next segment of the Driving the Difference show. Thank you.
Think about the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, or even the furniture in your home. There is a story and history associated with every product you've ever bought. Unfortunately, sometimes the workers who make your products are subjected to terrible working conditions, are not treated fairly, or the manufacturing process is harmful to the environment. There are many forms of modern slavery and damaging production methods, but it's up to us, industry leaders and the consumers themselves, to take a stand so that we can contribute to a healthier planet and to changing the lives of everyone involved across the global supply chains for the better. Ethical Trade Alliance enables buyers to make informed choices on all of the products they purchase.
Welcome back to the Driving the Difference show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me now is Ellen Voie, the CEO, President and Founder of Women in Trucking, the USA. Welcome, Ellen. Thank you for joining us here this morning.
Well, thank you for having me, Jacquelene.
So, Ellen, we just wanted to chat with you a bit this morning about what's happening over in the US at the moment. And I will say that I didn't read much of your bio today because we would take up the whole 6 minutes. And just want to firstly, if you can just speak a little bit about why you started Women in Trucking, and then we will talk about some of the initiatives and how COVID's affected the trucking over there at the moment. And then we'll get into some other things that we've done together over the time.
Well, I started Women in Trucking in March of 2007, and I was working for a very large trucking company, and my job was to figure out how to attract and retain non-traditional groups, and one of the groups was women. And I realized that the trucking industry wasn't doing the best job in accommodating and understanding what women bring to the industry and what we need to do to bring women into the industry. So I put together a board of directors, got all the legal requirements, and started Women in Trucking in March of 2007 was our very first board meeting.
Excellent. So, and that's grown beyond your wildest dreams, of course, in the last 13 years since then, and gone amazingly well. And of course, it's not only about women. Everything we do in both your organisation, mine, affects women and men, but obviously we're trying to attract more women and other other ethnicities and youth and everybody else to join our industry to fill that gap that we have in our industry for that we need more workers in not only drivers but in technicians and in all other areas of our industry where we're really low in trying to attract people. And I can't remember, but you have a saying about we want to fix the trucks, drive the trucks, own the trucks, and something else. I can't remember the little saying that you have about that, but it's actually right, because we have a lack of operations people and diesel technicians and mechanics and all of those people, and we want to show what an amazing industry it is and how many roles there are within that industry. And I know one way that you did it, and of course you said once I could copy anything they liked from you, and you started a foundation for your scholarships. And obviously here we don't have a foundation, a small population, so we have an amazing sponsor for our scholarships in Daimler Truck and Bus Australia Pacific. And we've found that just with the courses the women study just shows the diversity of what the roles are in the industry, and that has been an amazing thing, that with their engineering and their licenses and other courses of study. And do you see that again through the people that are applying for those scholarships in the US, that there's a huge diverse range of what they want to do and the age groups that are applying for them?
Yeah, and it's very rewarding to see younger women coming into the industry. So our foundation scholarships are in 4 areas. One is technician, which would be maintenance. One is driving. One is what we call leadership. So that means anyone who works in the industry who wants to advance their career can apply. And then the other area is safety. Anyone who wants to women make great safety professionals. So we want to encourage them to look at a career in some type of safety arena as well. So yeah, women are actually increasing their ranks in all of those areas.
We don't specify those 4 areas, but they have covered all facets of those areas in doing that, which has been amazing, from licensing through to all of those. I don't think we've had mechanics, but we've had engineers that build the trucks and build other things. So, and of course ours is not just trucking, they've been on the trains at the railways, so that's been interesting as well. So because obviously we don't just deal with the trucking industry, we with bus and rail and marine as part of our membership, which has been really, really great. But the scholarship thing has been wonderful for us and for you. And obviously the Girl Guides as well is something, or Girl Scouts you have over there, which is something that showed the whole supply chain for you. And that's been something that's come to the fore through COVID, that's shown how the whole supply chain, how the people are reliant on that. And I've been watching both Canada and the US, as well as here in Australia, that people have finally come to realise how reliant they are on the trucking industry to feed themselves.
You know, it's pretty interesting when a driver says, when they pull into a big box store and people are clapping because the driver has a load of toilet paper or hand sanitizer. I mean, if that's what it takes to get the non-trucking public to understand the importance of our industry, then, we'll take it. I just hope that it lasts. I hope that in the future, people still realize how much the supply chain industry affects them on a personal basis.
And that's what we're hoping too, that after this is all over and we return to normal, that they still realise that this is what happens, that everything they have in their home and everything they eat actually is supplied by the supply chain, whether it's the cold chain or the normal supply chain. And that's how they have to, they're all going now, thank a truckie, and as you say, they're appreciating them more. Not that let them keep the restrooms open and the roadhouses open without being forced into it, of course, but they did start to appreciate exactly what we were doing for them. But post-COVID, we're hoping that that's going to stay, and of course you're hoping for that over there as well, because I think the potential is there that it won't. How do you think the industry is going to hold on post-COVID over there? How do you think it'll go with rates and with supply and demand?
Well, right now it's still very strong. I mean, this quarter has been very strong in regard to loads. People are buying things. People are having more things delivered to their homes. And the cool thing is, another thing that the pandemic did is show that we still have jobs. So many people lost their jobs because they couldn't, their jobs were eliminated. I mean, look at conference centers and, big hotels and things like that. But with us, we have jobs. And so the economy is doing fine. And we have jobs. And I think you're right. I think that wages are moving upward even more so than before the pandemic. So it's all good for our drivers in the trucking industry.
I think so too. I think it's been a great time to work in this industry and be finally being seen as an essential worker and an essential part of the world, and not just seen as somebody to get out of the way. And it's certainly very lucky for us to be in an industry that we've kept our jobs and been able to work throughout this time, because so many people have lost their jobs. We're out of time, Ellen. It's been wonderful to speak to you, and hopefully when I see you next, I'm actually over there or you're over here on one of your trips. One of our trips, and we can get together. Thank you very, very much, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching the Driving Different show, and we'll be back with another episode very soon. Thank you.
With over 20 years of combined recruitment experience, Bastion is your trusted advisor for sourcing leaders. Technical experts in supply chain recruitment, Bastion uses a proven customer-focused delivery. Speak to a consultant today for your recruitment needs. Bastion, experts in sourcing leaders that deliver change.